All right, guys, welcome to the first summary class. And this was your first week. So I want to give you guys one more round of understanding that what needs to be done. I saw there is still some confusion. Please let me know why there are confusions. I have no idea because I've sent a detailed mail. Please look at my mails that I'm sending so that you don't have a confusion. If you have a confusion, reach out to me in the Slack. So the one that I sent you first, after the kickoff session was this, where I included the video of it, the kickoff session. I have given you guys the access to the Google Drive where you will have to upload your assignments. Okay. And I have given you an understanding that in your folder, in this particular folder, if I go to this particular folder, you will see that there is a Excel sheet. If you open this up, here is where you will find all our recorded live sessions. This will be all hosted in the YouTube. So you can, I will add your email address to this particular YouTube channel of mine so that you can look into this videos. You have the access to this videos forever. Okay. Also, I have this two pre-recorded session where it says where to find assignments and how to submit assignments, and that is exactly what I have mentioned in my email. That is exactly what I have mentioned in my email. So and I have also given my calendar and Gagan's calendar. If you have any problem, I mean, in terms of like roadblock, you can first shoot a message in the Slack. Me or Gagan will respond back. If not, you can just book a call with Gagan first. And if it's totally busy, then you can book a call with me, right? And that's how you will be able to work it out. If someone didn't join the Slack channel, then please join the Slack channel and always communicate with me through Slack at the first, and then during the week, if you have a problem, you can book a call. Okay, this is what I was expecting. So you can see that in the Google Drive of mine, which is something that I have given you guys access to, and then you can go to the assignments folder. In the assignments folder, just a second. Okay, in the assignments folder, the free sessions, I'm expecting you guys to create your own folder, like some of you guys have done it. Okay, and that's where you go and you upload your assignments. Okay, some of you did it. So for example, I'll just show you how things are done for other batches so that you can kind of understand what is expected out of it. So if you go to September batch, you can see that assignments, free sessions, assignments, and you can see every one of them, they created their own folder, and then they are uploading the assignments right there. And then I am having one more folder over here, Wisdom QA assignment solutions, which I will be providing you. And that's where you will be, looking at for the comparison between what you have done and what I am offering. Correct? This is what is needed from your side. I would like to understand, I mean, your experience in terms of week number one. Do you have any confusion in terms of week number one, what needs to be done and everything? Do you have any confusion, guys?
I'm good anyway. It went fine for
Okay.
me. Just
All
took
right.
took a, took a night maybe just to figure out the process, and then after that it was pretty
Yeah.
straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Joanna, how about you?
Yeah, I just had trouble finding that the link to the where you could upload the assessments. I think it was because I assumed the Google Drive, once you had access to the Google Drive, you had access to wherever you needed. So I was
Mm-hmm.
in the assignments folder that was linked from the Wisdom QA site, and was
Right.
expecting to be able to upload it from there.
Yeah.
But obviously that was not the case. So that's where the confusion kind of came in for me.
No problem at all. That's good. Okay, I'm seeing Kakashi. Kakashi, I didn't get your name there. Can you just tell me? Um, can you give me your full name, please? Hello. I'm not sure if I have recognized you. Kakashi, can you just tell me whom am I talking to? Kakashi, are you there? You can just unmute yourself. No? All right. How about others? Akub, Eric, Susan. How was the first week?
Hi, Shovik, Akib here.
Yeah, tell me.
So, Shovik, a week was very good. It was a good brush up for me in terms of Java basic concepts. But I was
Mhm.
not able to upload my assignment because I was not able to create folder in the Google Drive.
Yeah. But you see, everybody else did. You must be having the same access because that's a public access I've given it. I mean, I don't think you should have a problem. Can you try to do it now? The Google Drive link I have
Yeah,
given you.
I tried just now as well. But
Yeah.
when I'm trying to create folder,
Uh-huh.
it's not showing me any option to create folder or upload file in November 2020 only.
Okay. Let me
That
just
link.
see.
When
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
selecting new,
Yeah,
I'm not able
exactly.
to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is weird because I have access given to everybody there. You see, I'm not actually sharing with any specific people. It should be coming just like that to everyone. Let me just check something else. November 2020. Share. Yeah, I have not yet given any. You see, others are able to do it. How you're not able to do it?
Okay, can I share my screen and show you
Yeah,
like?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Just give me a second. Just give me 1 second. Uh, yeah, can you just see the option to share your screen? You can share the screen
Just
now. Yeah.
yeah. So when this is the link, and when I try to, I don't have any.
Wow. What is that? Can you go to the assignments folder? Go to the assignments folder.
Okay.
Yeah, go to free sessions. Now right click on it.
Oh yeah.
That's it. You're trying to do it in
Thank you.
another place, right? Yeah,
Okay, no problem. My mistake. Thank you.
no problem. Okay, cool.
Hello, Zoic.
Yeah, hi, Eric.
Yes. Okay. I haven't done all tasks
Okay.
because I don't have a lot of time. But I done the class one assignment already. They done, and I going to do
Okay.
them today.
Okay. Perfect. No problem at all. I'll upload the
The other
uh,
tasks.
yeah, I will upload the week 1 solutions, so you can take a look into it. And first you try to do it on your own. If you're not able to do it, then you can look into my solution, and then that will be a easier way to get it done. Then, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. Who else we have? We have Nashwa. How about Nashwa? Did you manage to watch the videos?
Hi, thank you.
Okay. And
I
did
can't
you?
I can't access your the Google Drive. I just join, and I can't receive the link.
You can't?
I didn't receive the link to the drive.
This email you don't have? This email you don't have?
No.
Oh, okay, my bad. Let me just check. That is weird. I should have sent it to everyone. No, it is sent to you. Can you just check in your can you just check in your
When you
spam?
send,
Yeah, just check in your spam or something. I think it has gone to your
okay,
promotion or spam or some other folder. Yeah,
let me check. Okay, spam.
that's fine. That's fine. All right. So without further delay, I will straight away jump into the summary discussion, and from there on, we will continue. Just give me a second. Let me open up my week number 1. Right. So what is Java? Difference between JDK, JRE, and JVM? That is exactly what I have discussed in this particular section, and I will run through it so that you guys are absolutely crystal clear with it. There is no assignments in class 1 folder because there was nothing to really show there. Okay. So as a part of the Java, right? What is software testing? I have given you some understanding what is software testing. I've shown you what is a client. I've shown you what is how exactly in today's world things are working. Like we have web servers, we have web servers, we have business logic servers, and in which you will be like, in a web page, there are multiple different sections. Each and every section is like talking to different APIs hosted in different servers to pull the information and then display it in front of you. That is how normal software works in current times. And when we say that we want to write a test case, like end-to-end test case to test an application, we should be understanding that this needs to be done in a holistic way. That means you need to write the test cases from UI perspective, as well as from backend perspective. You have to understand that every system, every software is having multiple different components, ideally, but primarily those are divided into a backend system and a front-end UI. Okay, if you go to any website in any company, you will always see that there are 2 development teams. One is a back-end development team, another one is a front-end development team. The front-end meaning whatever you see in front of your eyes. For example, I am in expedia.com. I am in expedia.com. In the expedia.com, when I am performing a simple operation, I just open up my Chrome console using, and when I go in here, and when I say that I want to perform some information or I want to perform some operation, so I'll go to the Networks tab. All right, I'll go to the Networks tab. In the Networks tab, I am going to show you something very simple. That is, I'm going to hit this guy here. And you see, any operation that I'm performing, I'm seeing that there are multiple different actions are being placed. Like when I clicked on that particular input box or the text box, I saw this particular page or this particular section popped out, and I saw there are multiple different calls that are being made. So whatever you see in front of your eyes, that's your front end. There will be a front end development team who will be working on the front end stuff, like creating the user interactable operations. Okay, and then in the backend, there are going to be certain network calls that will be responsible to perform certain action. So you see, I didn't really do anything. I just clicked on that input box to enter some information, and I got multiple calls came in here to me. If I want to inspect these calls, if I open these calls, any one of them, these calls, I can show you that when that particular click happened there, I made a call to Expedia.com EGTA API version 4 type head, and then there are multiple parameters that were being sent. Okay, and when I requested this URL, I mean, when I clicked on that particular button or that particular input box, automatically from the backend, a call went to a particular server to perform some operation. Okay, to perform some operation. So this is basically the backend. We will talk about backend in much deeper in the advanced section. Okay, so we will know how to write API tests. We will know how to write API framework end to end. So the idea is simple. You have front end to use it as a user interaction, and then you have a backend where you perform something in the front end, and some information gets processed via something called as APIs. Okay, application programming interface, API calls. So you see in here, we made an API call, which is a version 4, and the API method that we have called is called type ahead. Type ahead. What do you mean by the type ahead? Type ahead, I think it means that it can show me the suggestions. You know, in Google, when we enter some information, I get some suggestions in that box, right? So by looking at this method name, I can kind of understand that what they're trying to do. When I clicked on it, they immediately called on this particular method, API method called as type ahead, which is ready to accept some input from my side, and it will process and give me back some result, right? That, okay, if I'm saying London, LON, then the primary match is London, or something, some city that starts with LON. I'm just saying, right? So this is what exactly is happening, the front end part and the back end part. So as a part of this course, we will be digging much deeper into both the sections, or how to write our framework that can cover both the sections. Okay, so this is what exactly how each and every section, each and every section in any advanced framework or any advanced application will be interacting with multiple different APIs every time. Okay, this is exactly where I say it as this guy, right? You have a front end, you have web services, and you have a business, and that's your web services, right? So this is what is we will be doing in terms of software testing, ideally. Few types of software testing I have already mentioned in the video: unit, system, integration, regression, user acceptance testing, smoke testing, sanity testing. This is something that you can understand from any testing, you know, methodology or any testing book that you refer to. You will know about all these type of testing that we perform. But I would like to give you a very simple understanding of what is the right way to test in modern terms, in terms of automation. Okay, I mean, testing department is really evolving. The end game, or the end idea, the basic idea of testing is this: we want to be in a position to support our developers to implement their changes, immediately test their changes, and then deploy their changes. It is called as continuous integration and continuous delivery, CI/CD. Continuous integration, continuous delivery or deployment. Okay, what do I mean by continuous integration? You have to understand that when a software is being built, not only one team, I mean, you can take up any software, right? When the software is being built, maybe it is a simple page, maybe it is your home page. Okay, and in the home page there are multiple different sections. Each and every sections are performing different actions for you in the same page. There could be a possibility that each and every sections are being developed by different teams. by different teams. So when I say continuous integration, I mean that all these teams are working, they're working independently, and then they are merging their code, or they are deploying their code in one single package. They're not deploying these sections out of the main application. There is one main application, and then they have multiple different sections. Each and every team is probably working on different sections or different feature of that application, and they are continuously integrating it, and they're continuously deploying it. So in this process of CI/CD, our job as a tester is to deliver, is to test the application before integration and after integration. You understand? For example, I have this particular section and I have this particular section. Maybe one team is working on this two section, another team is working on this particular section. It's highly possible, right? So when I'm saying that we have to deploy or we have to test the application, we probably would like to test these sections individually, and then after integration, we want to test it as well to see whether the new changes that are being made didn't break anything else in the application. This is exactly called as regression testing. Regression testing, which means anything new that I have introduced, it could be a defect fix, it could be a new feature introduction, that should not break my existing functionality. For example, it can be possible that this application, or in this page itself, you have 200 test cases, and every day for different sections, there are bugs that are getting fixed, there are new features that are getting included. Now think about it, is it really possible to ideally run manually the test cases for 200 scenarios every time when there are minor changes that are happening? Is it possible? No, it's not possible. That is the reason why we are heavily dependent on automation testing. Without automation, you are not going anywhere in terms of testing world. That old era is gone about just have a manual testing team and they will do it. No, we want to deploy our changes immediately as soon as they are implemented. Okay, so that's the reason we follow something called as a testing pyramid. We follow something called as testing pyramid. What is testing pyramid? Testing pyramid says that everybody in the team is responsible for doing their bit of testing. Developers, testers, product owners, everyone is responsible to do their bit of testing. Okay, in the testing pyramid, at the very bottom of the pyramid, we talk about unit testing. What is unit testing, guys? Unit testing is nothing but testing a simple function or a method that is implemented by a developer. Suppose a developer is implementing a method. The method is add numbers, and they are saying add two numbers, say a comma b. These two numbers they want to add. Now, if this method is actually able to perform the addition and then giving back the right output or not, that needs to be tested as well. So each and every function that is implemented by a developer needs to be unit tested. This is exactly where it is called unit testing. Unit testing is the most lightweight testing that you can ever have. So which means if your application is very well unit tested, automatically a lot of bugs can be avoided. So always encourage your development team to write good quality unit tests, always. That is why it is in the very bottom level, and it is in the very bottom level because it has, an application should have more and more and more unit tests, more and more and more unit tests, right? Then we will talk about web services testing. let me just check out something. I got a message. Is it? No, as a QA, we are not going to really, work on the unit test coverage, Joanna. We don't do that. We can encourage them. I mean, there are some testers probably who are into white box testing, but that is very minimal number. I haven't seen really, that a testing team is putting their efforts in unit testing. Unit testing is something that is done by developers. You can give them suggestions like how to write a unit test, but you don't really work on their test coverage. That's not possible. Okay, so yeah, we have unit testing, we have web services testing, and then we have UI testing at the very top. The idea is simple. The idea is that we are going to keep UI testing as the minimal. We will keep UI testing only for end-to-end flows. End-to-end flows. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Try and understand. We are not going to write a test case that will check if in rental car page or in Expedia page, if this particular text is visible or not. No, I'm not going to verify that. I'm not going to verify that this particular text is visible or not. This is not a minute. Okay, as a part of UI testing, no. We the text information of the data validation as a part of our web services testing, or even further, as a part of unit testing. Some method is responsible to get this information or get this panel up and running for us, right? So we can add unit test to check whether this information is visible or this information is shown in the page or not. We are not going to view whether this guy is there in this particular section as a part of UI test. No, as a part of UI test, what we will do is we will perform end-to-end test cases. When I say end-to-end test case, what do I mean? I mean that if I click on vacations shift, it will take me to this page. I'm going to then enter city, London. I'm going to say Florida. I'm going to give some date, and I'm going to say search. That performs a search. This is, and then I see that it is going to validate. It is going to pull up some information. Right now, it didn't pull up any information. That's fine. But it is pulling up any information or not. That is what I'm going to verify as a part of UI test when I'm saying an interaction, a user interaction. I'm not really going to bother about if a particular text is visible in the page or not. That is not what I'm looking at in terms of our UI testing. So this is what we ideally do. Okay, this is what we ideally do in terms of UI testing. In the service testing, as I said, we were going to run it, any kind of data validation that we do, we will try to get it done as a part of the API testing. When we are clicking on a particular button, we are firing 10 different API calls. We want to understand if those API calls are being properly called with the right data and I'm getting the right response or not. That is what is a part of the API testing, and that is going to be in the middle section because it will be more and more UI API test and very limited number of UI tests. Why very limited number of UI tests? Because there is a reason. The reason is that UI tests are much heavier and they take much longer to execute. API tests are not that heavy. You can write more and more API tests and it will really not take a long time for its execution, but UI tests will do. Okay, so keep less number of UI tests depending on what kind of end-to-end scenario you're trying to validate. Don't need to validate things like if I am seeing this particular text or the button is present in this particular location. No, that is not what I'm trying to look at. I'm just trying to look at if my top 20 scenarios of an application is working fine or not, or maybe top 100 scenarios are working fine or not. That is what I'm trying to understand as a part of my UI test. Okay, am I clear with this testing pyramid? It's a very, very important concept to understand. Okay, so in many time in future when you go for the interview, they will probably try to ask you like, what is your test strategy? You can then easily talk about the strategy from this particular pyramid itself, that this is what we follow, right? So let's move on to the next bit. Okay, so yeah, I have just mentioned the same thing here. I will not go into it more. Learning automation testing. All right, introduction to Java. Okay, let's try to talk about what is Java, right? Java is a object-oriented programming language. Okay, what is object? Why I'm saying object, and what is relevant with the keyword object? I will talk about that later on. Okay, but it is a object-oriented programming language. There are three main components of the Java programming program or Java system that we install in our operating system, which is Java Virtual Machine, Java Runtime Environment, Java Development Kit. Okay, what is Java Virtual Machine? Ideally, Java Virtual Machine is a concept and an abstraction over operating system to execute a compiled Java code. It doesn't physically exist. Okay, that means there is no specific code that is there to create a Java virtual machine. It's a concept ideally. Okay, so what does this concept talks about? It talks about that it is going to create an abstraction layer on top of your operating system. It is going to create an abstraction layer on top of your operating system. It could be any operating system, your Mac, your Windows, or whatever it is. And the idea is simple. That is, you are specifying a source file. The source file is a .java file, ideally, because it's a Java program, .java file. The source file that you have is going to be compiled using a compiler, and that gets converted to a bytecode. Why bytecode is needed? Because machine will never be able to read the source file that is written in simple English. It will never be able to understand what's happening there. So that's the reason why we have to get the source file created first. We'll have to create the source file first. Okay. Once we have the source file first, then we run the compiler. Okay, the compiler will run and they will be converting the source file that is in the English to a machine readable language or a bytecode, and that bytecode is then being processed via Java virtual machine, which is an abstraction over the operating system. Okay, as we can see here, the raw source file get compiled, code which gets executed through the platform independent Java virtual machine. Why am I saying platform independent? I'm saying platform independent because for each and every different operating system, you will be installing their own version of Java, and that will have specific JVM that can talk to that particular operating system. Okay, that is why it is saying platform independent. So it means that you can create a test, any Java program in a Mac, and then you can run it in Windows, and that is only possible because of this particular reason. Make sense? All right. So just give me a quick second. Okay, just a minute. Let me just check something. Okay, so what is GRE? What is GRE then? Okay, let's go and understand it. So Java runtime environment is actually the implementation of JVM along with some set of libraries. All right, and I will show that to you. The GRE is basically, as it says, Java runtime environment. Okay, so you need to have this JRE installed in your system if you wish to only execute a Java program. A JRE will do, because JRE comes with JVM, the implementation of JVM, and the set of libraries that will help you to execute a Java program in through the JRE, the runtime environment. It creates a runtime environment and nothing more than that. Okay, so ideally you have to understand this, that if you want to execute your Java program, you need JRE. If you want to develop your Java program, you need JDK, Java Development Kit. It is needed when a developer wants to implement, compile, debug, and execute a Java program. Okay, in order to develop a Java program, a platform relevant JRE is not enough, right? So you can see that JDK is built using JRE, as well as some dev tools that will help you to compile a Java program and then you can run it. Okay, so execute, create, execute, and run. Everything can be done through JDK. JRE is only there to run, and that's it. Okay, how is it platform independent? As I said, a developer is creating a program using JDK in Windows operating system. Okay, and then you are going to easily run it in JRE with a Mac. In the Mac, you can give that compiled code to your friend or to your client, and they can easily execute it through the JRE that they have installed in that particular system, the Mac system. That is how exactly it works out. Okay. What else? This is basically how the platform independency works, because it doesn't really matter, in which operating system you are creating your program. All right, so that's pretty much about Java thing. Let's see that in action. I have shown that to you in the video. I can show that to you again. So you can see that I'm creating, let me go to my folder. Okay, so I'm going to do something. I will quickly delete some files, and I'm going to create a new file, and this file is going to be some file, test me. It's a normal text file, okay? Test me. As a part of this particular file, I can create a simple program. I can say public class, give a class name. The class name should be the same as the file name. So I'll just say test me, and I'm going to open and close the brackets. And then here I'm going to say public static void main. Okay. And then here I'm going to say string of array args. This is a program that I have written, a simple method. This method is needed because I want to trigger, or I want to run this particular file. In Java, if you want to run a particular file, you have to run it from a method exactly created like this, a method which is named as main. Basically what is happening is JVM or even JRE is trying to look for the method called as a main in your Java program, and then it is trying to kick off the program from the main method. So you can see that main is the kickoff point for your program ideally, right? So public static void main, that's fine. And then what do? I do something like so. I say sysout or system dot out dot println, and I'm going to say, hi there. Okay. And that is my simple file that I've created. And I can just simply create this file, save as. I can create this file with, say, change this to all files and say dot Java and say save, right? Dot Java and say save. And now what I do? I will say, I will quickly go back and I will go ahead and open this file, and I'll try to open this file from my command prompt. So I'll just go and open it from my command prompt, cmd, and let me go into my location that is here. And here, if I say dir, I'm seeing many of them. And the one that I'm looking for is a testme.java, this particular guy. Okay, so I'm just going to use something called as, first and foremost, you need to know that Java is installed in your system or not. You can easily know that by saying Java space minus minus version. And if I do that, it shows me that I have installed Java. How to install Java is already covered in the week 1 video. So I think you guys are already done with that part. And now with Java that is installed in my system and configured in my system, I can run the command called javac, and I will just simply say testme.java. And if I hit enter, it takes a few minutes and then it gives me an error. Why error? Because I have not closed out my line here. I can close that with the help of this guy, right? So I just open this up and I'll just put a semicolon so that I can, now I'm closing the line. I'll save it again and let's run this one more time. Javac testme.java, hit enter, and that is done. As soon as it's done, you can see a new file got created called class file. It's a class file. If I open this file, you see things are gibberish. This is a machine compiled version of your .java file, something that we won't understand, but system will, right? And then we will go ahead and execute the class file. We are always going to run the class file. We're not going to run the .java file. We're going to run the class file. So I'll just say Java and just say test me. Okay. Don't even need to have class. Test me, enter, and I get the value as high there because that's the only thing that is there within that program, a system.out.println. So what I'm trying to say here is that I can show you, I have shown you that you are creating a Java file, you're compiling it to become a .class file, which is understandable by the machine, and then you go ahead and you execute it. There is a reason, there is a way to execute it, but you have to follow that, right? You have to compile it and then you run it. So this is exactly what I showed in my file as well. Execute the program, I showed you that. Java installation and configuration. Okay, up till now, do I have any doubt from anyone in the class? Is it clear to everyone? Yes, no? Is it clear to everyone, guys? Just give me a chat.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay,
It is
good.
clear.
All right, perfect. Good stuff. So Java installation and configuration. How many of you guys have completed this part? If you have any problems, just let me know. I can solve it right now. Do you have any issue with Java installation? All I need is that when you are done with the installation, you should be able to come to the command prompt, and if you say Java space minus version, you should get this. That confirms that you have installed Java in your system. Are you getting this or not?
Yeah, I got it.
All right. Who do I have is having the problem? No, it's working good for my computer. Okay. Others, please. Supriya, Prajwal, Nashwa. Nashwa, you said yes. Who else, guys? It's working. Okay. Okay. That's fine. If you don't have if you have a problem, just give me a shout with the setup. I can help you. All right, so once that is done, installing Eclipse IDE is the next part, which is our code editor. Very important part of our job. Without a code editor, you cannot really maintain your code base. So let me open up my code, Java Eclipse. And the Eclipse, when you open up, it talks you, it asks you to choose a workspace ideally, right? So when I say workspace, it is nothing but a space in which, or a folder in which you're going to keep all your projects. So right now I'm going to create a project for my system, which is going to be Is Gre, sorry, Is Gre November 2020 and launch. As soon as I install it, installing it is very simple. I've shown in the video as well. Once you install it and you create the workspace, you get something like this. You open up your Eclipse like so, and then you can close it, the welcome screen, and you have your blank Eclipse system ready. Take out everything that is unwanted. For example, task list, you don't need it. Outline, you don't need it. You can squeeze this little bit and then remove the problems, remove Java doc declaration. Okay, you don't need anything like right now. We're gonna click on create a Java project, or you can just go to the file and say new Java project. Okay. Is it okay to have Java version 1.8.0? You can, no problem at all, Susan. That's fine. But just make sure that that's a JDK, right? Is it JDK or not?
It says Java version 1.8.0 _ 271.
That's fine. But if you go to the location, so you got to go to your program C drive, go to your program files, and you go to Java, right? You must have JDK. You should have a JDK folder there. Do you have a JDK folder or JRE folder? If it's a JRE folder, take it out, get a JDK.
Okay, cool. Let me check.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem. Okay, so create a Java project. Perfectly fine. So what do? I just go ahead and I am going to create my, why do we need to set up an environment variable? Okay, so Sindhu, we need to set up an environment variable because you want ideally to access Java from anywhere within the system. So as a part of the environment variables, if you see it clearly, if I go to my advanced settings, environment variables, if you look into my environment variables, I have Java home, and I'm specifying the location of my JDK, where exactly this is, which means by saying this variable name Java underscore home, I am giving the value, which is the location of my Java, right? So with that in mind, when I'm hitting this command, Java space -- version, okay, as soon as I say that, this particular command is trying to look for an environment variable named as Java underscore home. And then it relates to the value of it, and it figures out, okay, this is the location where my Java is ideally installed, and that's where it goes and it fetches the information for me that, okay, version number 11 is installed in your system. How does it know that? It knows because it is reading Java underscore home, right? That's how it knows it, right? And the reason for keeping it in the environment variable, because in my system, if I just show you, in my system, I have just C drive. I have just C drive, but in multiple different systems, you can see that they will have multiple different drives, C, D, E, whatever it is. If you are setting this up in the environment variable once, you can ideally access Java from any other drive in your system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, good. Thank you.
Good. All right. So I'm creating my first Java project. So I'm just saying Java week 1 summary, something like that, and then just say finish. So I just created a simple, okay, always remember, I am saying this, a lot of people came back to me with the same problem. don't say create. This section, create module info.java, do not create this. We don't need this. Just say don't create. Okay. I have the simple setup. If you go to the location of this particular project, how can you go to the location of this project? You can right click on it and you can say show in System Explorer. Open this up and you will get a folder right there. You can see that I had just created a workspace, Whiskey with November 2020. Inside that, I have a folder, which is my project. I have some metadata, which is something that I'm not bothered about. It is maintained by Eclipse itself. Okay, we don't want to really bother about that, but we have this particular project of ours, Java Week 1 summary. All right, that's good. Now, in this particular folder, as you can see, I have added automatically, it has added the GRE version 11, and it is coming with hundreds of jar files. What are these guys? These are multiple jar files. You see, .jar, .jar, .jar. What is jar? Jar is nothing but Java archive, right? Java archive file system. Okay, this is called as jar. Why do I need a jar? Because this is basically a library. When I say it's a library, it is nothing but a packaged compiled class files. Okay, how will you know that? Look at it. If you just go ahead and if you open up any one of them, you can see there are multiple different packages, like small packages. If you open this package, you can see there are all class files, not one, not two, hundred thousands of class files. This all together, it is making the JRE active so that you can run the Java program, right? So all these guys are there to perform different tasks that you and me, we don't really need to bother about. We just got this in form of one single library system that is called JRE, that is having like 100,000 class file, and we are just using it and we are writing our program on top of it and running it, right? This is my JRE that got added to my project. Okay, good stuff. And then I have a folder, which is a source folder. Ideally, this is the folder in which we will be writing our programs, correct? So source, I'm going to say new, I'm going to say package. Package is nothing but a folder again. I'll show it to you. I'm going to say test and say finish. And then I'm going to say new class. And with the class, I'm going to say that, yeah, test Java, something like that. Okay. And I can then choose this particular checkbox called public static void main so that you can get a method automatically created when the class is created and say finish. And that's how a simple simple Java class got created. Test Java, this particular font is little low. You can easily increase the font by going to Windows, Preferences, go to the section and say font, search for font. You say colors and fonts, go to basic, okay? Go to the section which is text editor or text editor, yeah. And here it is, you have to upload this. I said Java, but still doesn't, still command doesn't show the version. Okay, first and foremost, Kakashi, I'm not able to recognize you. Can you just tell me what's your name? Because can you write your right name? I'm not really remembering your your email address or your information. Can you give me your right name, please? Okay. I'm going to say edit. I'm going to say 14 and OK, apply and close. Why did it not improve? Text font. Oh, this is the editor block. Sorry, this guy. Edit 14. All right. So you can see that I have this main method now. Kakashi, can you just show me your screen? Let me see what is the problem in your screen, in your system. Probably I can fix it. I'm giving you the access as a co-host. Can you just share me your screen, please? Can you show me the problem? No? Just a second. Yeah, can you talk now, please? Kakashi, can you talk now? I'm not able to hear you. Or give me a chat or something like that. Just a minute. Can you share your screen now?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Fatima.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, right? I'm not able to understand. I was saying that give me your name and just change the name. It shows Kakashi Sensei. I mean, I'm not able to understand who was that.
No,
So
I
that's why I
didn't
was,
know.
okay, fine. So can you just show me your screen, Fatima?
Okay,
Uh, in your name, right, in the participant list, it is showing the name Kakashi. So I didn't really remember who did I got with that name. So that's why I was wondering.
Okay,
So
so I have to.
you can show me your screen now.
Yeah,
I
I have
have given
shared. Please
yeah
stop other screen sharing.
yeah. Can you share the screen now? Share screen. There's a button at the bottom of your screen. Share screen. Yeah. Okay. Now I can see it. Now can you just go back to your command prompt? Okay. Can you just type in Java space minus minus version? Okay. Can you just show me your environment variables? No. Yeah, go to the Java. Go to the Java first. Java folder. C drive. Go to C drive. Okay. Let me do one thing. Give me the control of your system, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Can you just give me the control? Okay. So program files Java. You have JDK15. That's okay. That is going to be the location of your profile. Now open up your advanced environment variables, Fatima.
Shovik, in the command prompt, is it Java C, right? Instead of Java?
Java
And CD
C
command.
for compilation.
Okay. No, to check the version also.
To check the version, just Java space minus minus version.
Okay.
But it didn't work for me. I put Java space just only once. Python version.
Okay. Now in here, Fatima, where is your environment variable? You don't have an environment variable. So new Java.
Also, I have to add new. I just edited the existing one.
What is, there is no, there is no existing one, right? One minute. You have
Something Java was there, some Java.
Java underscore home. And then once you're done with that, in the path, you have added Java home. How will it
Yeah.
work? No, remove that guy, delete. And in here, just say new and say percentile Java underscore home percentile slash bin, because you're actually pointing to the bin folder inside that JDK folder. There is a bin folder. You're pointing to that bin folder. This guy is nothing but a variable that will have the path of that particular JDK, and then you're pointing to the bin folder. That's it. Now, if I just say OK and OK again, close this guy, open up your command prompt, please. A new command prompt, not this one. Oh, not this one. Just remove that. Close it and open a new command prompt. Yeah, and then just say Java space minus minus version. Enter. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
No problem. So I'll just going to stop the participant sharing. I'll share my screen. Okay. So what I was talking about is in terms of main. I've created a main method. In the main method, I am going to then write my program. With the help of editor, it makes your life very, very easy. I'll show you how. It helps you to debug your program. It helps you to learn what is happening with a particular program at runtime. For example, I can say sysout and hit enter. I get system.out.println. This particular text, you don't have to write it, because as soon as you say syso and you hit control and space in your keyboard, you get this guy auto-filled. Like so, there are multiple different features a particular editor offers you, and we have to learn it one by one. So from here, I'm just going to say, this is my first Java program, something like that, and just save it. When you do the saving, something is happening immediately at the background. You don't have to really bother about compiling your Java file when you're working with an Eclipse or an editor like Eclipse. Okay, so as soon as I saved it, how do I know it is saved? You see, if I am giving a space, okay, you see a star is getting added at the very beginning of the name of the file. That means something new has been added, but it is not saved. Now I say Control S, and you will see that star is gone. The star is gone, which means it is saved. Right? So when, as soon as you're performing a saving operation, okay, as soon as you're performing a saving operation, right, you are doing something at the background. What is it? So if I just right click on this project and go to my properties, no, sorry, not properties, my bad. I'll open up in this project in my show in System Explorer. When I open this up, I showed you this particular folder already, Java Week 1 Summary. If I open this up again, I see something. I see that there are some files and folders. There are two files called classpath.classpath.project and .settings. I have got these three guys here, which means what? Which means that I have some folders and files that are maintained by Eclipse, the editor, Eclipse itself, which I don't really bother about. My main focus is an SRC folder because that's the one that I see here as well in the Eclipse. So I am bothered about only the SRC folder. SRC means source, right? If I open up this folder, you will see the exact what we have done in the in the Eclipse itself, there is a folder called test. Test is a package from Eclipse perspective, but ideally it's a folder, nothing more than that. If you open the test, there is a file called test Java, which is a Java file. The type is a Java file. If you open this up, it is exactly what we have written in our program, right? That's what we have done, correct? Now, once I have that in place, now what I'll do? I'll go back to my Java Week 1 summary. Now you see, I didn't really run Java C command to compile anything, but you see, there is a folder called as bin. Bin means binary. If I open this folder, you will see another folder called test. If you open this test folder, you will exactly see what we saw earlier, test Java, but it is not a Java file, it is a class file. But the class file is showing everything in gibberish, which means it is a compiled class file, something that is understandable by machine. But you see, I didn't run the command java c at all. So who did? Eclipse did it for you. As soon as you are saving a file in Eclipse or any editor, it gets auto compiled by in the background. It does it. How it does it, we don't want to bother it. We don't want to bother about it, right? It somehow calls the Java C program that is there in your JDK, or maybe it has got its own compiler that compiles your Java program and creates this guy, right? So this is how your Java programs are being compiled, and that's the reason when I showed you, right, the jar files, right? In the jar files, you see there are multiple packages, and every package has got so many .class files. So as soon as somebody created this particular project and they just saved it, it got compiled and became a java.class file, okay? And now even you can create your own library. For example, there's a simple project that you have created, simple project with a simple file and simple operation. You can convert this Java project into a library itself. How can you do that? You just say right click on it and just say export, okay? And you say export and say general or say Java, and you say Java and you say jar file, you see? So I'm exporting my Java Week 1 summary to a jar file, and I say next, and then I say that I am giving some name. So I say test me, something like that. And then I'm going to put this into my desktop. Okay, in the desktop, I'll give the name as test me, and just say save. And once I have that in place, and then I'm going to say finish, right? As soon as I did that, you see I created a jar file like you saw in terms of GRE. Where's the jar file? Let me go back to my desktop, and you see I created a jar file like so, right? Now this jar file can be added to another project, and then they will be able to access my classes. They will be able to access just my class folders. .class files. Okay, I think I can even open this jar file with a zip, Let me try that. Hold on. 7-zip, open archive. Okay, or yeah, open archive. Let me try that. Yeah, you see, I'm able to even, if you get a jar file, you can even open it up with a zip because it's actually a packaged version. And inside that, you can see there's a test folder, which was my package, right? If you open that up, I have a .class file. You see that? It's highly possible, right? You can just create your own library and give it to someone else who wants to use your library. So that is what I was supposed to show you here. And okay, that's the end of the first class slide. Do I have any questions from your side, or is it clear, crystal clear? All clear, guys? Yes, no?
Yes. Okay.
All right, okay. Guys, just tell me one thing. Am I going too fast, or I am in my right pace, or should I include more examples? Do you want me to change the way I'm teaching? Any suggestions from your side, I'll be able to, I'll try to fix that. Just let me know. Yes, no? All right, okay. All right, so then let me quickly go to the next slide deck. So class 2, week 1, class 2. Class 2, this session talks about configuring, installing and configuring Java, Eclipse, understanding main method, variables, data types, packages, operators. All right, so let's see in here, if I go and open up my class 2 presentation, creating a class with the main method, I showed you how to do that already. That's fine. Let's create a simple program to add numbers. All right, let's try to understand the main method first. Okay, so adding numbers is a very simple program. I mean, you just create a simply, go back to your main method and then just say sysout. Okay, sysout 2 plus 3, right? Something like this, and you run this piece and you get the answer in your console. That's it. That's a simple way of writing a Java program, and then that's how you can perform an addition and then print it at the same time. Okay. Let's try to understand a few things before we dig deeper. For example, understanding the main method, very, very important. So a main method is a starting point for a Java program. Okay, when the Java program is started, okay, JVM looks for this particular syntax, a method with exact same structure, public static void main, string args, string of array args. Okay, that is exactly following the same method. This is exactly what a JVM looks for to start its journey. Okay, the main method accepts an array of strings and as an argument, which means it can accept comma separated multiple strings within that method. Any syntax between the scope, that is the flower braces, is basically the scope of the main method. Okay, so let's try to look at it. Things that we have to understand here is these keywords: public static void main. Main is the name of the method name. Void means that main method is really not returning back any information. It is just performing some operation. For example, if you look at my main method, what am I doing here? I'm just printing a value or printing a string and then adding a number and then printing the value. That's all I'm doing. I'm doing some operations, okay? But I'm not really returning back any value. This method is not returning back any value. For example, I can create, you see, I can create another method called as a main method. For example, public static void main. And this main method is absolutely going to be existing in the same place, right? And you see, I'm putting something here, sysout. This is a second main method. This is a second main method, correct? And when I said JVM looks for exactly this particular syntax, exactly this particular structure of the main method. Now, if I run this program, you see this line didn't get print. Why? Because JVM didn't look for this main method. It was looking for this guy. It found it and it ran the operation within it. What if I want to call this main method? How can I do it? I can do it by calling this main method from this main method. How? I will just simply calling it like this, main in brackets. That's it, right? So I'm just saying, I'm just calling the main method by giving the name and adding the same structure with a open and a close bracket, and that will be my main method. So if I just go ahead and run this piece, then I get the information in here. Make sense? All right. Now, when I said that void this particular information about saying main is having a return type as void, it means what? It means that this main method is not returning back an information. For example, even this method is not returning back an information, but I want to return something. What if I want to return something? I can add a return type, which means I want to return a number, some random number. Okay, some questions? No, it will not, Nashwa. It will not cause the conflict because the structure of these two main methods are different. This is called as method overloading. I'll talk about that in details when the right time comes, but you have to understand that if your structure of the methods are different, you can keep the same name of the methods. No problem at all. Is that okay? Good. All right. So now what I'm saying here is that I have a main method. That's fine. And then what I'm saying here is that this main method is also returning back nothing. So it is saying void. Return type is void, meaning that it is not returning back any information. But what if I want to return a simple number? I will change this void to int. Int meaning I'm trying to return a number. Int means integer. I want to return an integer from this main method. So I'll just say return. I'll talk about details later about the method and everything else. So you say return, I say 100. I want to return 100 out of this method, just like that, right? And I was able to return some information. Let me go and run this program. No change in the output. It's still the same. It's still the same, right? Until I wrap this main method in a sysout statement. Sysout statement. Now, what will just happen is this. The sysout is going to first call this main method. The main method will be executed, which is this guy over here. It will print this part. It will return 100. The 100 will be caught by this system.out.println, and that 100 value will be printed in my console, just like that. You see? So this is what is called, this is what I wanted to talk about, return, what exactly it means by returning something. Okay, so main method is not returning anything, so it says void, but this one was returning int, so we were able to catch it. So anyway, this is the structure, void, static. Let's skip this particular keyword. It's a keyword and there's a big significance of static, which I don't want to dig deep right now because I have to say a lot of things before that. Public, meaning that anyone can call this program from anywhere. That is the meaning. That is why we say public. Okay, public is basically an access specifier. I will talk about access specifier when the right time comes. All right. So that's pretty much that I have in here right now. Okay, so let's quickly go back and look at the other part. Java packages and sub packages. All right. So Java packages, a package in Java is usually used to encapsulate a group of classes. It is nothing but a folder. Like why we use a directory? We want to use a directory because we want to keep similar type of files in that particular directory. You have a folder in your system that contains different kind of Excel files. Okay, so that it's a directory which is keeping some relevant information, right? So similarly, package is exactly the same thing, right? You're creating a package so that you can keep similar type of Java files that is kind of doing the similar operation, or you can somehow group them logically. Okay, that is what is the package is all about. You can create a package within a package, like a subfolder. You can do that just by using this dot operator. How can you do it? So for example, if I go back to my program, you can see I have a package called test, right? I can go ahead and I can create a new package, new Java project, sorry, Java package. And the package name is test dot say Java 1. Test.java1. I created a package within a primary package, which was test. Now, if I open this up, I got a test.java1. Now, if I just create a new file in here, class test me again with the main method and finish. And you see I got a separate class in test.java1 and in the test. That's how exactly it is, correct? So this is how the packages are created. And now you see one thing, when I create this guy, test me again, this particular class is within the package called test.java1, right? That information you have to specify on the top. You don't have to really do it because Eclipse is automatically doing it for you, right? But this is absolutely needed. You have to say where this class is located. So you just say the package information, right? Okay, so that's that. Let's move on to the next bit. Variables and constants. Very, very important. Variables is a name of reserved area allocated in memory. A variable is assigned with a data type, which means it can store a specific type of value. Like in this case, you see, I have a name of the variable as a number. The variable is named as number, right? I'm saying the type of the value that I can store in this variable is int, and then I am saying the value that I want to store is 10. Correct? This is exactly what a variable is doing for me. I'm giving a number, I'm giving a name to the variable, I'm giving the data type to the variable, and giving some initial value to the variable. And that's how what will happen in the memory is it will simply create a location like this. It will name it the location. Ideally, when I'm naming a location or I'm naming a variable, it means you are ideally allocating a space or a position, or I'll say it here. You're allocating a space or a position or an address to that particular box, which is named as number, right? And then you're saying that you want to add the value in int format, and then the value that you want to store here is 10. That is exactly how when you call the name of the variable number, it will print the value 10 because you are, by giving the number, by giving the name to the variable, you're getting the position of it, address of it, and you're just calling it and getting the value. That is a variable. Variable is a variable because it can varies. Today, right now, you're storing the value 10. Tomorrow, you want to change it to 20. You can do that. It's a variable. It's a variable at runtime. So right now, when the program is executing, you have a variable which is 10, and then you say 20 at runtime. It will accept it, no problem at all, because it is a variable. On the other hand, we have a constant. A constant. You see, I have given the name of the constant, which is pi. I've given the type of the constant, which is double. That means double is what it will store, double type of value. And then I've added a keyword called as final, which will say that this value that I've added as a constant, that is 3.14, is the constant value, which will never be changing at runtime. If you wish to change that at runtime, it will say you're not allowed to do that because it's a constant. That is exactly what is a variable, right? And a constant. So I will quickly show this to you in my program. I have a variable, you see, int number equals 10. No problem at all. Now I'll put a sys out here, and I'm going to little bit introduce you what is debugging. Slowly I will keep on increasing or keep on adding the concept of debugging so that you can understand. Guys, I have to tell you something very, very clearly. This is our first class, and I'm telling you right now, that is, if you are not good at debugging, then your development career is finished. You have to, there is no other option. You have to learn how to debug. I will teach you, I'll show you every bit of it, but you have to make it a habit that when you create a program, you create a program in a debug space, keeping in mind that you have to debug it. Why debugging is needed? Because when you are creating a program, there is a 99.99% chance that the program is not going to execute the way you're supposed to execute. I'm not talking about adding a plus b, like two numbers. Those will be executing just like that. But I'm talking about complex problems. They will not be able to execute until unless you really able to debug the problem or the program step by step by step, and then you know where to change the things so that you can get the right output out of it, right? So don't get scared of debugging. I have seen this with my students, or with every student, someone who is starting their programming career. I have seen people, they get scared of debugging. I don't know why. It's a very, very simple thing to understand. So for example, I'm right now introducing you debugging by creating a simple sysout file, sysout statement. Okay, this is blank sysout because I am not printing anything. My intention is not to print anything here. I ideally want to put a breakpoint by double clicking line number 10. I put a dot like a breakpoint. The idea is that when I run this program in the debug mode, my program will be at pause in line number 10. When it is at pause, then I can look at multiple different sections of this program and figure it out what's happening. This is called as debugging. Okay, so for example, I go ahead and I debug. So to make it debug, you put a breakpoint and you hit this bug, right? Or you can just say right click on the test me again and debug as Java application. Even this is good. Debug Java application, open, you just run this and it says, do you want to switch to the debug mode? Say no. Say remember my decision, say no. This will, if you say switch, it will change the layout to a debug perspective. It is really not helpful. Okay, just say no. You will be in the same perspective or same layout of your Eclipse, and you will seeing that your program is at pause in line number 10. Okay, now this is where you can go ahead and figure it out what is exactly happening with your program. I'm going to introduce you to a quick situation. That is, when you right click on this number, okay, and you right click on it and you can, or you don't have to right click, you just say, I want to hover. If I hover your mouse on top of it, it shows you the value that it is holding at runtime, that is 20. Okay, this is a variable. It can store 10 right now, and it can store 20 just after this. How can I check it? I can check it by double clicking on this particular variable, right click on the variable and say watch. This is a part of debugging. I'm teaching you how to debug. So I say watch, and as soon as you do that, you see you're getting a tab here called expressions, and you get the variable, and the value of the variable is 10. Perfectly fine, right? Now what if I say number equals, sorry, what if I say number equals 20? As soon as I did that, the value got changed to 20. The number of the number variable is having the value 20. If I hover my mouse on top of number again, I get the value 20. This is how you debug. At runtime, you can change things and figure it out that how your program is reacting to it. This is called debugging. Okay, I just gave you a very simple glimpse of it. Try to incorporate this at every stage of your programming. Otherwise, you will not be able to learn this. And if you are not good at debugging, your career is gone as a developer. You need to know how to debug at any programming language you learn, whether it's Java, JavaScript, you learn anything new. You want to go for data science, you want to have to learn Python, anywhere, debugging is the key. All right. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, this is what is about the variable. Perfectly fine. I can make this variable as a final. How? Just by adding the keyword called final. Let's do the same thing one more time with the debugging. So I'm at here. I'll try to watch this, or I'll go to the expression because I already have this value in here, which is number equals 20. So I just want to go in here and I will just change this guy to 30, right? Hit enter. It is showing me here as 30. Why is that? What? Are you doing? Wait a minute. How is that? Ah, okay. Okay. Wait a minute. I know what's happening. In the debug mode, it is not going to really make any difference. But if I say number equals 30, that is where right. So guys, there are two things you have to understand. One is called as compile time. One is called as compile time. Compile time and runtime, okay? One is called as compile time. Compile time. Other one is called runtime. Okay? Compile time and runtime. What do you mean by that? When I'm saying compile time, it means that when I am writing a program and I'm performing a save in my Eclipse, immediately what did I tell you? That Eclipse will automatically run the Java C to compile your project. And it tried to do it. When I clicked on number, when I just tried to give a new value to the number variable or number constant, it gave me an error right there straight on my face that a final local variable cannot be assigned, saying that a constant cannot be assigned. So it is called compile time. It is throwing me an error. So if you're getting an error at compile time, your program will not even run, right? So say run as Java application. It will not even run. It says error exists in the project. If you still say proceed, I'm getting the error. It says unresolved compilation problem. So if you have a compile time error, you need to fix that before you can even run it. However, what I did earlier and why I was able to get 30 earlier is that now I don't have any compile time problem, right? I can go ahead and trigger my execution in the debug mode, no problem at all. And then what I was doing is that in the expressions, I was trying to watch, and I was trying to get the value to 30. And you see, at runtime, it was possible because I somehow bypassed the compilation, and I'm trying to test my final because there was no error error in the execution time or the compilation time. So I was able to run it, but now I'm trying to bypass it. But ideally, this is not how it will work out in the actual case. I mean, if you have a final, if you have a variable with a final in place, you will never be able to update that variable information because it is a final. It'll give you a compilation error, compile time error. So you will not be able to run it even. Correct? I hope you got the point, right? So yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. All right, let's move on and quickly go back to my stuff. By the way, guys, you're able to follow me, right? No problem. Supriya, I didn't hear back from you. Are you able to follow me? Is it hard? How are things, please? Give me a shout. Supriya? Supriya, are you there? Okay. What exception do you see, Akub?
Hello.
Yeah, tell me what is the yeah, go on.
I'm getting some JDI thread evaluations.
Okay, can you show me your screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. This is your which version of Eclipse?
Eclipse version, I think it's 20.
No, is it a new one or it's an old one?
I think it's 2019.
2019. Okay. Try to get the new version first.
Okay.
And secondly, yeah, it should not give you the problem. Let me just quickly look at it. Wait a minute. Project Explorer. Okay. For example, this is your program. Okay. Debug as this is the one, assignment number 8. Okay. Assignment number 8. Debug as Java application. Yeah. Oracle not supported. Advanced source lookup is disabled. Maybe this could be a problem as well. You have 13.1.0, which is not supported by the Eclipse that you're using. Maybe.
Should I change the JRE version then?
No, get a new Eclipse. What is the JRD version you have?
I think it's 1.
Yeah, get the latest one. 1.13. One minute. 1.8 you have. Okay. Try to get the latest Eclipse and let me just see something. So this number is showing the value. You just select this whole section and right click on it and say watch. Yeah. GDI thread evaluation. It is. Yeah, Nashwa, I'll see what's happening with your problem. Can you just open up the Google and see what's the problem? I think there is some kind of a.
It was working since. Sorry, it was working last week, like 2 to 3 yesterday also. I was able to debug it properly, but I changed something in environment part today. Is it because of that?
Could be. I don't know. What have you changed?
I've just added the, just a second.
No, it should be okay. Just as long as you're like, you're not going to be messing.
That's correct. It's 1.3 and.
Wait a minute. Just show me the Java home. Is 13.0.1. Why it is showing 1.8 then? Go to the path. Open that up. Okay, wait. Let me just check something. Do you have already Java home existing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. There are 2 of them. One is this guy. One is this. No. Wait a minute. Give me the mouse.
Yeah.
So can you just click on this fifth one, the last fifth one? Yeah, and remove that. Delete that. Okay, and just look for any other guy which is a Java. Do you have any other Java?
This one, that's a Java path.
Java path. I don't know if that is needed. No, this is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the Java home bin. That is fine. Click on OK. Why do you have 1.8 then? Click on OK again.
I think in Eclipse, when I go here,
Yeah.
I have changed it this to 1.2. So from here, I change it to 1.2.
That's okay. So just, yeah,
Okay.
this is fine. You're saying execution environment is 13. Can you change this to 1.8 again? 1.8 again? Is that 1.8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Now try to run
1.8.
this one more time. Stop and run it. Stop and run it. Stop and run it. Stop and debug it. No. There's something wrong going on with that. We have to see. Can you just try to Google and figure it out what's happening? I'll probably see it after the class.
Okay, no problem. I'll check it. I'll try to research it.
Yeah, okay. All right. Who else having problem, guys? Nashwa, can I see your screen? Let me just take up the screen. Okay, can you show me your screen, Nashwa? Can't see your screen. If you just can share your screen and come to audio. Okay. Now just try to. No, you don't. No, not like that. Not like that. Wait a minute.
Okay.
So for example, you want to put a breakpoint in line number 10. So
Okay.
like this, and then just say debug as Java application, and you're going to pause at line number 10, just like that. And you're not going to debug the system.out.println. No, that is not that is an inbuilt function of Java. You don't debug that. You debug, suppose x plus y. This is an operation you're trying to perform, and you want to debug and see how exactly it is going to work. So right click on it and say watch, and you get the value as 6. You see that?
Yes.
That is how debug it, right?
Okay.
All right. So yeah, it's totally working for you. No problem at all. That's fine. I have another question from someone else. What was that? Yeah. So Susan, your system, can you show me? I'll tell you what's happening. You are a co-host. You can share your screen now. Can you share your screen, Susan? Can you give me the control? Okay. Now you want to perform a debug. It is as simple as what I showed you earlier. So a for loop. Your program is wrong, right? Why can't I take the control of your system? Did you give me the permission? Yeah, you gave me the permission. No, I can't take the control of your system. So then I can't take the control of your system. Are you holding the mouse or something? No, I can't take the control of your system. Can you show me how are you debugging it? Can you show me how are you debugging it?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, one second. Okay. So it's navigating to it.
Wait. That is not navigating anywhere. It is calling all the other classes which are responsible to bring up system.out.println. So don't worry about it. Just close this guy. Hold on. Just close that debug guy there. Yeah, that's it. You are absolutely good. There is no problem at all. You just have to go and you have to print. You want to suppose print out all these values one by one. So you just go and say, I want to debug, and what version of Eclipse you're using? Why can't I see the this 2020? Yeah, this is good, but why it is not giving you the debugging capabilities like the these icons on the top, step into and step out. Okay, let me just try to do it with F6. Yeah, something is wrong because your F6 is not even working. Can you hit F6,
Yeah.
Susan?
Yeah. It's not
Yeah,
doing anything.
yeah, because yes, for some reason all these tab on the top is gone. Can we do one thing? Just say go to window, click on the window.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go to perspective, open perspective. No, perspective. Say reset perspective, reset perspective. Okay, yeah. Okay, you did that. Okay, now stop it, please. Stop the execution. There's a red button on top, right? Stop that execution. Okay, now just go back to your Project Explorer again. Okay, just try to debug again. Did you run or debug?
Yeah, I did.
No, it just executed everything. It's not debugging. All right, so it is in here, right? So now you see I have these two guys on the top. The one which is an arrow, it's a step into and step over. These two guys, F5 and F6. So you're going to use F6 for now, and I will talk about F5 later on. So go to the Project Explorer tab, go to Project Explorer tab, and click on F6. I mean the F6 icon here. Click on that, go down, you see? You're printing one by one. Go down, press again, go again. See, every step it is looping, right? You see the loop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every time it is looping and it's printing values. That's how it works. So this is what is debugging. You can debug every step in your program, whether it's a loop, whether it's a if-else condition, whether it's any damn thing in your program, you can debug it and you can figure it out what exactly is happening in your program.
Okay.
Everybody's following me, guys? Everyone is following me, right? Yeah. So Sindhu, can you just try to do it and figure this out if it's working for you?
Thanks, so.
No problem. Thank you. Supriya, are you there? Okay. All right. Good. Fine. So I will quickly share my screen. All right. So I just showed about the final. That's good. Let me quickly jump to my next things. Data types. I will not really go in details, but I'll just show you. Data type tree structure is here. We have two different type of data types. Ideally, one. Just a second. Okay, a primitive and a non-primitive. What is primitive? Primitive is nothing but something that came along with Java when Java was, created for the world. Okay, so any programming language will have some data type structure in place to let you store the data in some kind of a variable. Okay, you need to show and tell that what type of variable you are trying to create to store what type of data. Like some programming language, they don't need a data type. For example, JavaScript. In JavaScript, you can create a variable, and that variable is good to store either a number or integer or a string or a boolean. Anything can be stored in that, right? Some programming languages are built like that, but most of them, there is, I mean, you have to specify what you want to store, right? So here in Java, we have data type, a primitive and a non-primitive. Primitive means that you have all the data type created when Java language got created at the very beginning. Okay, so you see all these guys at the bottom: boolean, char, byte, short, int, long, float, double. Everything of them are primitive data type because for each and every one there is a keyword. If you open this up, it's a keyword. You can say int, you can say double, you can say float, and others, right? These are all keywords. Using these keywords, you can create your data types, right? So all this section up here that I am right now showing you, this whole section up here are the primitive data types, correct? And then we have non-primitive data type, which means a normal class. A class can also be represented as a data type. For example, string is a variable, but it is a non-primitive type variable because ideally string is a class. Similarly, array is a class. Then there's another guy called as integer. Integer, it is a class. Then it is another guy called boolean. It is a class. These are all classes. These are all classes. They are supposed to perform the job as you would do it for a normal primitive data type like int, like boolean. Int is a primitive data type. An integer is also a data type to hold only integers, but that is non-primitive. Why it is like that, I'll let you know later on. Okay, so which means to store numbers, you can either do it in int as a primitive data type, which is primitive, and the non-primitive is integer. So ideally integer is a class. It is a class, it's a non-primitive, right? It's a non-primitive. Non-primitive, correct? And why it is like that, I'll let you know later on. But why I have same guys to store the numbers. When we actually get into the level where we are talking about collections and everything, that's where I will let you know how it is. Okay, so let me clear this out. All right, data type is something which is very simple. Let's move on. Why so many data type of the same structure? So you see I have int. That's fine, Eric. No problem at all. You can use IntelliJ. That's totally okay. In IntelliJ also, it is a similar way you can debug. You know, you put a breakpoint and you can debug. And in IntelliJ, instead of watch, I think they have a watch as well. But in IntelliJ, I prefer the other one, which is called evaluate expression. There is a option called as evaluate expressions. Use that for debugging. It's really handy. Okay, so why so many data types to store same type of data? Because it depends on how much value you want to store. For example, you can look at this section that is int. Okay, so int, long, float. Let me clear my drawing. So byte, short, and then int and long. These two guys are there to store only integer type of values. Okay, why it is needed? There are 4 of them to store only integer type of values. Why it is? Because we have a range. Ideally, every one of them, they have a range. You see, there is a range. So which means that if you are trying to store a human being age in a variable, there is no point in really creating a variable of short or an int or a long. It's not needed. You can just get it created by a byte, because you see the range is 128 to 127. That means that is what the value it can store, right? Minus 128 to 127. So which means it is good enough, more than enough to store the human age. Or if you want to store number of students in a class, or not class, but in a college year. So for engineering, there are 4 years, right? So per year, you can say around 10,000 students are getting enrolled. Okay, so you can keep that information stored in a short type of variable. Then we have int, then we have long. Depending on what is the requirement, you can use it accordingly. So for to keep the distance between sun and earth, right, you can use it like long, something like that, right? So this is depending on what is the type of data you want to store. You can choose the right data type, but ideally, nobody really bothers. They all always keep it like int, or maybe if it's too much data, then they'll go for long, but ideally int is fine. um Anyways, let's move on. Okay, operators. What are operators? Operators are nothing but there are multiple different operators that we have to perform different operations, like arithmetic operator, relation operators, logical, prefix, postfix, so on and so forth. So I'm getting a call here. Yeah, Nashwa, that's fine. You can take a break. That's okay. Because I have another 30 minutes to complete this, so I'm kind of a little bit trying to finish it off. So there are multiple different type of operators. We have plus, minus, multiplication, division, modulus, okay, relational operators, logical operators, pre and post operators, so on and so forth, right? So arithmetic operators, you can just perform all these operations: plus, minus, divide, modulus. Well, you have to understand what is modulus a little bit better. A lot of people, they don't understand what is modulus. So let me try to make it clear for you. For example, I have the division to do, which is 5 divided by 2, right? 5 divided by 2. How will I divide it? We'll say 2 times 2 equals 4, right? And 5 minus 4 is 1, correct? So this guy is my modulus guy. So if I say that result 5 percentile 2, then the result will be 1, correct? And that's how it is going to be 1, right? If you have 4 percentile 2, the result is 0. But if you say 4 divided by 2, the result is 2. I hope you understand the difference, right? That is what is a modulus operator all about. Okay, keep that in mind. I don't have anything else to say it here because things are much more, very simple and self-explanatory. You can look at the video, come back to me if you have a question. I'll come down relational operators. It's very simple. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure it out, the relation between two different variables. Okay, I'm just trying to see. So ideally, relational operators gives you back the result in a Boolean format. Relational operator gives you the result back in a Boolean format. You can see every one of them, they're all coming to me in a Boolean format, right? If A is equal to B, right? If A is equal to B, it is not, right? So I'm getting the value as false. That means if a left-hand side is equals to the right-hand side, if it is, then it will get you true. If not, it's a false. If A is not equals to B, then it'll give you the result true, depending on whatever the value I'm showing you here, right? If A is greater than B, less than B, greater than equals to B, less than equals to B, there are multiple different situations you can do. Okay, these are called relational operators. The result is going to be always coming to you in a Boolean format. Very, very self-explanatory, nothing complicated here. Let's go to logical operators. Okay, logical operators are the situation where you can evaluate multiple different conditions. Okay, for example, you can say it here that if A is equal to B and A is equals to 10, then I want to do something else. I want to perform something. So ideally, this logical operator goes good with a if-else statement. a normal if else. So in the if else statement within the brackets, you're going to put something like this. You're going to say in the brackets, you're going to say if A is equals to B and B is equals to C, B is equals to C, then I want to perform something. Then I can say that sysout, I can say sysout, I can say A is equals to C. A is equal to C. Can I say that? I can say that, right? If A is equals to B and B is equals to C, I'm just trying to evaluate two different conditions to figure it out if it is working fine. And the logical operator is this AND that I'm putting in, right? And then I can have AND and then OR. You see, I have AND and then OR. You have to understand something very, very well properly when you deal with logical operators. Try and understand this very, very well, okay? So if this particular condition, if A equals to B, this particular condition is true, and this particular condition is true, only then the execution will go inside the scope of the if section. If both of these conditions are true, only then. For example, if you have a situation where, no, I don't want to clear everything. Okay, so for example, if I have a situation where if A is equals to B and B is not equals to C, I mean B's value is not exactly equals to C, right? If that is the condition, then it will not come within the block. Also, you have to understand something. If so the idea is simple. The idea is that if the first condition is true, it will check the other condition, right? It will check. You can keep n number of conditions over here within this if block. If A is equals to B, B is equals to C, C is equals to D, D is equals to E, you can do anything. Like in this case, I have kept 3 of them, right? You can keep any of them. All right. The point is that when the first condition is checked, it will check the second condition. If the second condition is true, it will check the third condition. If the third condition is true, it will check the fourth condition. But in any case, if any of the condition is returning you false, in any case, immediately it will not check any other further condition. It will not come to this particular section at all. Am I making sense with that? The difference between AND and OR is this. In AND, if any condition, suppose you're checking 5 different conditions in the if block, and your second condition fails, then rest of the 3 condition will not be even checked. It doesn't matter. It will not come inside this block. However, if it is an OR condition, so if you're saying if A is equals to B, if A is equals to B, or B is equals to C, right? If that's the case with OR condition, then what happens? Even if this fails, even if this first guy fails, even then this guy is true. If this is true, then it will come to the section. I mean, it will evaluate or it will run this particular section. So any one of them, if it is true, it will run that scope. It will run the program within the if scope, right? That is the difference between and or. Keep that in mind. Can you mix and or in the same time? You can. Why wouldn't you? Yeah, you can. Something like this, right? So it'll be a little bit complex though, but maybe I'll just have int a comma b comma c. Okay, I've created this 4 different variables, and every one of them I'm giving the value as 10, 20, 20, 30, 40. Okay. So I'm just giving all these created 4 different variables, and then I can say if A equals B and B equals C equals C. Okay. This is one condition you want to verify. Put this whole thing in a bracket for a better understanding. And then you can say or A equals C and C equals D. Okay. This guy is a separate condition altogether, right? Yeah, you can do it, no problem. That's it. So either this condition is true or this condition is true. You can do it. Make sense? Yes, no, make sense? Yeah, cool. No problem at all, Matthew. That's fine. All right, so that's that then. And then what I'll do is, let me go to the next part. Pre and post fix operator, which is very simple. Pre and post fix means that you want to add 1 to the existing value. Okay, so you can just use something like this. I have explained this in the video. A++, it means nothing but you are exactly performing the operation A equals A plus 1. This means that A equals A plus 1, meaning whatever the value of A was, you will be adding 1 to it, and then the new value will be assigned to the variable A. That's it, right? So your new value of the variable A is the plus 1 added value of the old value of A. That's it. So A++ means you are adding the value to the 1. But the point with, but there is a difference between A++ and plus A in terms of the way it is getting executed. For example, if you look at this section, this particular program, I have explained this in the video as well. Watch it if you don't have a problem. If you have a problem, let me know. I've explained the fact that if you're saying, so right now in the system.out.println, the value will be 5. It'll print the value as 5, and there is no problem in that. Okay. What is the value I will be printing over here? Saying A++. What will it do? What will it do? It is called a postfix operator. What does it mean? It means first, the statement, this whole statement will be executed. Okay. And then the addition will take place. So which means in this stage, when this particular line is getting executed, it will again return the value as 5. Okay. However, after the value is executed as 5, then at the back end, it will be increased to 6. So the next value will be 6 over here, right? The next value is 6. And then you are saying plus A. Plus A means just the opposite, which means first it will add and then it will print. So it will be changed to 7 because 6 is now got added by 1. So it is 7 and then it got printed. And then finally, in the last stage, it will print the value as 7 again. Make sense? This is the difference between A++ and plus A. The whole statement gets executed first, and after that, your addition takes place when it is A++. In the plus A, first the addition will take place and then the statement will be printed. So that's how, in this exact order, your numbers will be printed. Is this making sense? Yes, no? Everybody making sense? Okay. All right. Cool. Let's move on. Assignment operators, it is going to be quite similar to what I just said. That is, I say A plus equals B, what does it mean? It means whatever the value was B was, it exactly means this, right? So means, so B's value is 6, A's value is 5. It exactly means A equals A plus B. It exactly means this. A plus equals B means A equals A plus B. A minus equals B means A equals A minus B, so on and so forth, right? A equals A minus B, so on and so forth, right? So this is exactly what is assignment operators. You can just quickly run through all of them, you know, just write one small program and you get to know how to use it. You know, it is nothing very complicated to spend hours on it, right? It's very, very simple. Let's move on to another thing, which is called ternary operator. Yeah, it is a little bit different than others. So what does ternary operator really says is that you don't have to write a complex if-else statement. You can see the result. You can get the result very easily. You can see that I have a variable called as the result. I have a variable called as result, and I say A equal B. A equals to B. So it is as if A, yeah, I can't write it here. Hold on. So it is as if A equal B, then the value is 10. Okay. Else the value is 6. It is exactly what is happening with ternary operator. If A is equals to B, you can see if A is equals to B, if this part is getting executed, because this is before the question mark, this is the place where you are evaluating your condition. So if this is executed as true, then the value will be 10 that will be assigned to the result. If it is not, then 6 will be assigned to the result, something like that. Okay, this is basically ternary operator. So here you are evaluating just before the question mark, then you're giving the true condition and then colon, and then you're giving the false condition, and that's it. That is your ternary operator. Okay, good. Let's move on to the next bit. Okay. Then we have arrays, loops, do while loop, for each loop, var args. Okay, let me just quickly check something. This was class 2. I need to just quickly see something. What do I have in class? Yeah, we'll spend some more time. Yeah, arrays. And okay, this one slide will do it for me. Good. So let me quickly go ahead and open that up. Ternary operator. Okay, arrays. Arrays is a very, very important structure to understand. Okay, you have seen so far that I am, just storing one value into a variable, just one value into a variable. That is what I was doing so far. Okay, now the point is that there is a possibility in Java that you can store multiple different values in pointing to one particular variable, and that is called as an array. Multiple similar type of values into one single variable, that is called as an array. So for example, I'm trying to create an array of integers. For example, I'm trying to create an array of integers. I'll say int, and then I will say a square bracket, and then I'll say nums equals new int array. And in here, you give the size of the array. That means you are just creating 5 empty boxes. You're creating 5 empty boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're creating 5 empty boxes that is ready to store integers. this is one way of declaring an array. There are multiple different ways of declaring an array. The other way that I like the most is you declare the array and you at the same time you add the values. For example, you say int array nums2 and then in flower brace you're going to say 12, 34, 56, 78, 90, 89. So then what happened? You created another array and at the same time you just have said that this array is having a length or a size of 6 because you have just stored 6 values and you have at the same time you have supplied the values into it. That's how the nums array works. Now how do you get the value added to the array again? Can you do it again? For example, in here I can add a value inside this nums variable or array variable, that is nums square, and then you just give an index to it, in which index you want to store the value. So I say the index number 3, I want to store the value, and I'm giving the value as 99. Let's debug and figure this out. I'll put a breakpoint in line number 21, and let's debug. So you see it stopped here because there was a breakpoint already. So I'm just going to remove that breakpoint and then just say run again. Resume, sorry, not run it from here, but you have a play button here to resume it. So resume it, and you just resumed and it landed here, line number 21. And you can see that now if I hover in line number 20 variable, you just saw that there are 5 boxes that got created. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 boxes that got created. Every one of them are having the value called 0 because it is the default value that is supplied by Java. Okay, it is a default value that is supplied by Java, right? This is basically your size of the array, which is 5. Now, in line number 21, I want to execute. I want to go to the next line. So I did. Now in line number 21, if I hover on the variable again, you see on the index number 3, I have got the value as 99. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 5 is the length of this array. Starting from the 0 is the index. Array will always be starting from the index number 0 till the length minus 1. Length is 5, so 5 minus 1 is 4. So you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So on the third index, I have said give me or add the value 99, so which is why you see that value 99, correct? For rest of them, it is still 0 because Java has kept it as 0 as a default value for any integers, okay? So in this case, it'll be a little different because there are multiple different values in here. Now, once you have this in place, let me clear my drawing. Now, once you have this in place, you see I have got all these values in here. Now, I can show you some methods, some properties of an array that will give you good understanding. So you can say nums2 dot length. What is this? Nums2 dot length will give you the length of the total array. So if you just say finish, you got the value as 6, right? Because that's the length array. Now, if I want to add some new values to it, can I do it? So let's see, I have the total index starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Can I go and add a new value in index number 6? Let's see. So I'll say nums in bracket, I say 6 equals 88. Okay. At runtime, at compile time, it is not giving me any error. At compile time, it is not giving me any error. But let's see what happens at runtime. It gave me an error straight on my face saying that I'm trying to add the data in an index which doesn't even exist. because when this array got declared for the first time, it was having the size as 6. Now I'm trying to put a value in index number 6, which doesn't exist, because the highest index is index number 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the highest index. In index number 6 doesn't even exist. So I got the error straight saying that, array index out of bound exception. You're trying to access an index which doesn't even exist, right? This is something that you have to understand and you have to take care of. In terms of array, there is nothing more right now to talk about. We will see arrays later on when we deal with the loops and everything. Okay, so that's that. Let's move on to the next part. Do you have any questions with arrays? Any questions? We will do a lot of array stuff later on as well. But for now, are you guys okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Okay. Now, array rules, I have spoken about that. Questions. All right. Loops. There are 4 different type of loops that we are ideally concerned about: for loop, while loop, do while loop, and for each loop. Okay, I'll go through each one of them, and then that will be the end of our. Okay, I have var args. I think that will be the end of our session for today then. Okay, so what are these loops? There are 4 different type of loops that we are really concerned about. For loop. What is a for loop? For loop is something that we will use when we ideally know the end point. That means how many times I want to really loop around. How many times I really want to loop around. For example, I have this particular array which is having the loop as 6. I mean total length as 6, right? I know that guy length as 6. So I can write a simple for loop. Let me remove this. I can write a simple for loop saying for int I. Okay, what is I? I is a variable within the for loop which is going to work as a counter. It's going to work as a counter, and this value will be equals to 0. The variable value is equals to 0, right? And then I am saying a colon, not a colon, semicolon, right? I'm saying I equals to 0 because I is going to work as a counter for the index. Okay, because in the array, I want to access each and every index. So I say I less than nums2 dot length. Nums2 dot length is going to give me always the value as 6. So I know my range. I know that my range for this for loop will start at 0 and it will end at less than nums length, which is 5, right? And then I say I plus plus, which means I am just adding 1 to the value of I, right? Now this is where I am just looping around for the 6th time. That's okay. Now I want to print all these values. How can I do it? I can simply say this out. And in here I can say that nums2 in brackets, square brackets, I will simply pass on the value or the variable I. Why? Because I is going to work as an index counter. So the first index is 0, second index is 1, third index is 2, so on and so forth, right? So this guy, when I say I plus plus, it will keep on increasing the index number and it'll keep on printing the values one after another for all these items in that particular array. So if I just go and run this piece, so I got all of them right from here. So 6 is the length, right? We got it from here, right? And then we just printed all of them. So from 12 to 89. So which means for loop we will be using for loop in a condition where we know the range. That's where the for loop will be essential for me, correct? let's move on to the other type of loop, which is something called as a while loop, right? So while, what is a while loop? While loop works on conditions. Whatever I put in here between this two brackets is going to be evaluated as a condition. For example, I'm creating a variable here called int counter. Counter equals 0. I'm creating a variable called as count equals 0. Cool. Now I'm going to evaluate a condition. Condition like what? Like count, as long as the count is less than nums2 dot length. As long as count is less than nums2 dot length, right? As long as it is that case, I want to run my loop. As long as this particular condition is satisfied, my loop will execute. As soon as it will be not satisfied, it will break the loop. As simple as that. That is where I will use while loop. So which means where where my okay, as long as the condition is satisfied, satisfied. As long as the condition is satisfied, I want to keep on looping. Okay. Now in here, what I will do, I will say, I want to print the same thing. So I'll say sysout, and I'll say instead of I, because here the I is not the counter, but the count is the counter, right? So count. And I will print it. I will try to print it. Okay. Let's try to see what happens if I do it. Oh my God, I am stuck in an infinite loop. Why is that, guys? Somebody wants to tell me? Why is that?
Counter is not incremented.
Exactly. The counter is not incremented. I am stuck in an infinite loop forever unless I force stop it. I stopped it, my loop just now closed, and now I have to figure it out. How can I increase the counter? If you don't increase the counter, what will happen? You will be always looking at the index number 0, right? And if you are always at index number 0, then you will never be able to reach to the end of the loop, because this condition will be always satisfied. 0 is always less than nums.length, always. So the loop is now stuck in an infinite loop. Simple as that, right? So how can I do it? I can simply say count plus plus. And let's try to run this one more time. And I got my results as it is, right? So which means whatever as long as this condition is satisfied, your loop will execute, and once it is not satisfied, it will break. That is why while loop is important. Then we have another type of loop called as do while loop. As a part of do while loop, the logic is exactly same as a while, but there's only one difference. So for example, count less than count, let's say count greater than nums.length, nums2.length. Now think about it. The nums value right now, when this loop will be over. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me make this count as 6. The value of count, I'm making it as 6. Okay, I'm making it as 6. Nums.length, sorry, I'll make it as 5. Not 6, but I'll make it as 5. Okay. Nums.length is 6. 5 is never less than 6. 5 is never less than 6. Correct? Do while loop. In the do while loop, I'm saying that it is going to work exactly like a while loop. So works exactly like a while loop. The only situation is, but it makes sure it will make sure that it runs at least once, that it runs at least one iteration, no matter what the condition is. If it's a false or it's true, it doesn't matter. It will still run this guy. So sys out count. If I run this, you will see it will run at least once. It ran at least one. So 89 got printed one more time because that's the last element, right? That got to run one more time. But after that, nothing really worked because obviously this condition didn't work, right? So it came out of the loop. But the point is, that is why you will use while loop. If you have a condition where you want to run it at least once, then you go for a do while loop. Okay. Ideally, I haven't really used this do while loop. I never faced in a situation where do while loop will be really preferable. But if you have something like that, you can use it. Mostly I try to work with for loop, while loop, and for each loop. Okay. Lastly, I'll talk about for each loop. All right, what is for each loop? For each loop is very, very essential when you deal with collections. Like array is a collection. Collection meaning you're trying to work with a collection of similar type of elements. Okay, this concept is called as collections. So array is a collection. We have other type of collections in Java like array list, like hash map, linked hash map, set, so on and so forth, right? So as a part of this for each loop, I am not bothered about the range at all. I'm not bothered about the range at all. I'm only bothered about only one thing, and that is the array itself or the collection itself and what type of data I have in it. For example, this particular element, this particular array is an array of an integer, correct? So I'm going to say int num colon nums2. What did I do? What is it? So look at that. Nums2 is the array. We all know that nums2 is the array. And I know that nums2 is an array of integers. I know nums2 is an array of integers. So I'm saying in this for each loop, I'm saying that this num that is holding only integers, let me create a variable called as int of num. The variable is called num, which is of type integer. So what it will do is it will every time when the loop will iterate, it will always look for the element. So for example, if you just see it here, right? So all these guys are within the array, right? Nums2 array, all these numbers are there, perfectly fine. So the loop itself is implemented, or it has its inbuilt mechanism that when you are iterating over a collection, it will automatically pick up one element at a time, put it inside the variable called num. Okay, and then the loop will run for that particular variable num. So if I just say in here, sys out num, then what happens? In the first iteration, it will take 12 and it will be printed, or whatever operation you want to do, you can do that. Secondly, in the second iteration, it will exactly do the same thing. It will pick up 34 and put it in the num, and then 56 and put it in the num, so on and so forth. It will keep on doing it until and unless it reaches the last element. Until it reaches the last element, it will pick up one element at a time from the collection, put it in the variable of the same type, and then it goes inside the loop, and whatever operation you want to perform, you can do that, right? This is exactly how it works in terms of for each loop. Okay, questions? Is num null before the loop runs? No, num will be 0, right? Because int is by default, Java will put the value as int. Int is 0 for Java, so it will not be null. It will be 0. Okay, so that's with that then. Okay, this is for each loop. I can just run this piece, and you will know that it works like a charm, like so, right? Okay. When we give the for each in a method, then what happens? What do you mean by that?
Because in your in the not assignment in the class in the first week one, I have seen you gave a for each loop in a method, and then you calling that method in the main.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're confused with that var
yeah,
args, var args, yeah.
yeah, and then in that method you are assigning the values, and in the for each you are calling the nums too. So I was a bit confused.
No. Don't be confused. This is exactly how a for each loop works. I think what you're talking about is this. Let me just try to show you. So for example, I have, let me go back to this guy, test Java. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a simple method here. And this is where I think you're coming from. I think you're coming from this concept of var args. Is this what you're talking about? A for each loop that will print out
Oh
everything?
yeah, this
Something
one.
like this? Yeah, exactly. This is simple, right? It's this. There is nothing different. So what you're talking about is a var args. So let me just quickly make this happen. I'm creating a method, public static. Static is a keyword, which I'll tell you later why I need this. Void, and say I'll make some method that will add multiple numbers. So I'll say public static void add nums, add numbers, something like that. And as a part of that, I am going to say in the add numbers, I'm passing on a parameter, okay, an argument. The argument is of type var args. It will be defined like this: int, because it's an integer type, int dot 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 nums. Okay, this is my var args. This is my var args called as this is my method with a parameter called as int dot 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 space nums. What is this? It's a var args, varargs, which means it is nothing but an array variable. You can just say it's an array variable, or a little bit more, mostly close to array variable. Why it is important? Okay, this array add number. What is the significance and why I want to use it? I will first and foremost show you to just print these values. I will do the addition later on. So I'll just say for loop. It's exactly what I did earlier. Exactly the same thing. I'll put it like this. I'll say int num colon nums. Exactly same that I did 2 minutes back. And I want to print all of these values, right? So I say sys out and just print me the values. So I say num. That's it. Now this method that I created called add numbers, I'm not adding numbers as of yet, but I'll do it. I will first and foremost call this method from the main method, like so. And in this var args, now this var args that I have, I can then pass on n number of values, n number of values, no problem at all, like this: 12, 34, 56, 78, 90, 67, 54, 32, whatever. I can pass on n number of values inside this parameter. Because it is of type var args, it can take up n number of values of same type. Okay, so I did that. Good stuff. Now what I do, I'll go ahead and print this. I'll run this program. So let's run this program. Run as Java application, and I did, and you saw that it has printed all these values. All these values got printed. How it is printing? Let's debug. Debug is the key, guys. Debug is the key. If you want to succeed in development, debug is the key, right? What do? I will put a breakpoint, line number 22. All right. debug as Java application, right? My execution will be at pause line number 22, just like that. And you see right now I'm hovering on nums. I get all the values, no problem. On num, the variable num, I'm hovering, I get the first value 12, right? Let's debug. I go to step over, I print the value 12, I go down again. Now the value of num is 34, right? Because it is in the second iteration of the loop. So I get the value as 34, so on and so forth. It will print all of them. So that's how it is printing, okay? My motive is just not to print, but I want to run and I want to calculate the summation of all of them. That is my motive. How can I do it? Let's try and see. So it's a very simple logic. What I will do is I'll create a temporary variable called int temp equals 0, or temp int result equals 0. Result equals 0. I'm creating a temporary variable called result, assigning the value to 0. That's totally fine. And once I have that in place, why you're having a problem? Int result equals 0.
Can I ask a quick question before
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so is it specifically nums only, or can we give any name? This an array variable?
You're saying name.
Yeah, because int
You can give any
any
name.
name, right? Okay.
It's a variable. You can give any name. Yeah. Int result equals 0. What are you having a problem? No, you don't have any problem. Sorry, my bad. Okay. So int result equals 0. That's totally fine. Now what I do, I am going to add. So what is the logic, guys? Think about the try to think about the logic. I mean, you have to train your brain to kind of visualize the logic. The idea is very, very simple. So think about it. I am going to use it like this. Result equals num plus result. That is my logic. How did I say that? It's very simple. Why? Because think about it. So result at the first time when the iteration is running, at the first time the value is 0. Let me put this in a comment. At the very first time it is 0. Okay. And then that is equals to 12. This for the first time, first iteration, plus 0. 12 plus 0 is 12. That is assigned to the value result. That is assigned to the variable result. So result is having the variable value as 12 right now in the first iteration. Now what happens? The second iteration comes. Second iteration, the num value is 34 and the result value is 12. So the result value will be now 46, right? So then third iteration, it'll be the 46 up here, and it'll be added with 56 and whatever the value is, right? This logic will keep on happening until and unless I reach my last element in the array. And that's pretty much about it, right? So I don't even need to print anything in this moment. I just want to iterate over and over and over. And then finally, I want to print out my result once it's done. So I say this out, sum plus result. That's it. Sum is so on and so forth. And then just run this piece. That's it. Make sense? So I just used a simple for each loop and got my result printed by adding everything together. This is called var args. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much that I wanted to cover up for today. What else we have? Yeah, I think that's all I have discussed in first 4 classes. Class, okay. Introducing to Java class and object. I don't really have the time. Did I talk about Java class and object here? Maybe I did a little bit, right? Yeah. I don't have the time to talk about Java class and object today, guys. I'm going to talk about Java class and object tomorrow. I mean, in the next session. what I will do is you will immediately after this class, maybe by evening or so, I will be uploading or I will be enabling you guys with week number 2. Okay, week number 2. And then I will also give you guys the solution for assignment, week number 1. I was supposed to discuss those assignments, but next week I'll do that. Week number 2, week number 1 assignments I will upload. And what else? And I will also upload the YouTube video of this particular recording in this particular location, summary session recording. Okay, just give me one quick second, guys. Just all right, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm getting some chat. Let me see, what is the question? Yeah, that's fine, Supriya. Take care. I'll just see the videos, get the new week. I'll open up the new week for everyone. So start working, so on and so forth. So you understand that it's a pretty rigorous course. So you have to spend 10-15 hours per week on this. So please put the time into it so that you can come to me with questions. In this live class is your time to ask me questions and get the answers. This is not your primary class. Your primary classes are the videos. This is basically your summary class, your doubt clarification sessions. So please use it accordingly. All right. All right. I think that is what I wanted to share up today. Guys, how do you like the summary class? Your feedback is highly, highly needed for me.
Yeah, good so far.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the class is good.
Thank you. Fatima, Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, it's yeah, I'm understanding it's good.
All right, okay. James? All right, okay, good stuff. Perfect,
So
thank you.
in my
Yeah,
case, it's good. It's good
yeah,
class. I need to check the lesson, but it's good.
yeah, perfect, thank you. You're able to understand me. I mean, it is highly important that you're able to match up to my, or I'm able to match up to your frequency and make you guys understand the concepts, right? If that kind of thing is happening, then things will be perfect. Thank you, James. All right, so I'll enable the with week number 2 now, and please study hard and come back to me next week. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Take care, guys. Bye bye. Have a great week ahead.
Bye
See you.
bye. Take care.
Thank
Take
Everyone.
care.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.